in that. But if we can certainly help anyone who's enrolled in our program by writing a letter or by contacting a lawyer because they were unable to do so, we do that. But we're very limited in doing that. Our involvement, I should say, is very limited in doing that. Right.
From a correctional perspective, we have actually established some great relationships with the administration, with both the administration and with the officers.
Yes.
We're in constant dialogue with the Deputy Commissioner of Programs on Rikers Island.
Okay.
He's a strong advocate of us and has been helping us.
And that's important because if you don't have those ties, it makes it very difficult for you to get in and do what you have to do.
No, for sure. And you know what's interesting. We're a prison ministry, right? So we're there for the inmates, but we're there for anybody that we come in contact with, right? It's not Blue Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, just lives matter, man. Just lives matter, right? So we treat the COs with respect. We pray for them. We give them materials. We treat them like God's people because they are. And we rarely have difficulty with any correction officers getting into the facilities. They appreciate us. They know that we are there for them as well as the inmates. They know that we know the drill. We're not going to make their job 1 inch harder than it needs to be.
Right.
We know the drill. We've been through this. Right? It's not our first rodeo, so that helps with it as well. But we've established great relations with the administration. They're very supportive of us. They want to see how we can expand the program. So as we get more volunteers, we'll be in more facilities on the island, preaching Jesus to his people. So we're excited about that.
Okay, that's good. Is it any state facilities that you guys frequent? Or is it just primarily Rikers Island? Because you got a handful on Rikers Island anyway.
Yeah, physically we're only on the island at the minute. Now, again, we've got the Bible studies upstate. We write men and women upstate, but we're not in the upstate facilities yet.
Okay.
But we've got a pretty strong vision of where we want to get to ultimately.
Right now, we're in 5 facilities at Rikers Island. We are at, we started out at OBCC. We are still there. We at GRVC, GMDC, Rose M. Singer, EMTC. So we do have our hands full there at Rikers Island. We're there sometimes. I am there sometimes 3 times a week, and I said, I think someone should pay me, Ernest. What do you think? I think I should be on payroll here. I'm here as often as the correctional officers are here. But I love it, and there's no other thing I'd rather do in my life than to do what I'm doing, and that is to go in behind prison walls to give men and women hope and share the love of God with them.
I think it's a real need for the transitional housing that you had spoke about with women as well as men, but I understand the need for women too, and women have special needs when it comes to that.
Yes.
We have a real serious issue in Poughkeepsie with that, because people who are coming home who are displaced, the only option that they have is the shelter system.
Yes.
And the shelter system is like an atrocious place. It's drugs, it's violence.
It is.
It's everything that you don't need to be exposed to when you get out. And I'm pretty sure it's like that, in the city.
Yes, it is, very much so.
But, there are not that many, with the exception of the Fortune Society and Osborne doesn't have housing. No. The only one that has one is the Fortune Society. They have the castle.
Yes.
But one of the good things about the Fortune Society is just not a bunkhouse. It's connected to a program.
Yes.
And you guys already have the structure of the house set up, because you're already given the referrals, you're given the counseling.
Yes.
If you had when you established reentry residential, now you have the bed. Now you can just set up shop.
Absolutely.
You already got 80% of what you need as far as the services. And I think that's very important.
Yes.
It just can't be a place for people to stay. They need that support.
They do.
You know, the counseling. Really, where do I go when I get out? Who do I need to contact?
Absolutely.
You know, and you guys have that. So I think that would be a valuable asset to the women who are getting out.
Absolutely. You know? Yes. As a matter of fact, 2 of the women that we're meeting with on Fridays, they were both living in the street. Wow. And they're in their 30s. Beautiful women, beautiful, intelligent. And they are there for, because of assault. Because they're protecting themselves in the street. And they said they tried the shelter. It just doesn't work for them. Right. So they'd rather sleep on the train.
It's safer on the train than in the shelter.
On the train. So that's why, yes, our goal is to try to get that transitional housing for them so they can come and have a place of safety where they can come and support until they can get on their feet, of course, and get their jobs and, their own apartment. But in the meantime, we would like to be that vehicle for them where they can have a place to come and find, security.
It's interesting. There was recently an article in the New York Times, an op-ed piece in the New York Times, where an inmate who has recently been released from Chino out in California said, I don't understand. You just spent $700,000 keeping me incarcerated in Chino for the last, 10 years, and I get out and you give me $200 and wish me good luck. Right? And it's, it's pretty stark, but that's what it is. So, the deeper we get into prison ministry, the deeper we find, all the various facets, all the various hurdles that we need to help overcome so that these men and women can get out and say, okay, I have a place I know that I can get to that has the programs, that I need, that has a safe place for me to sleep, that can help me get all the IDs I need to get, that can help me get the job skills I need, can feed me and pour into me spiritually. That's what I need, and that's our vision ultimately. Rome wasn't built in a day, and but we've got big vision for where we'd like to take this ministry, because we have a lot established, but really only scratching the surface of the issues that these men and women are facing once they get out, and we really want to be a shining light in that regard. Right,
and that's interesting what that gentleman said, but. There's so many other layers of hurdles that people have to go through. Absolutely. He didn't even mention that when whatever skills he has, it will be difficult for him to apply those skills to a job because he's going to be discriminated against to get a job.
Yes.
And on the other hand, because this is like when the cat has his paws like this and he has the mouse in it and he just bounces it back and forth. Then on the other hand, once he does get a job and he wants to get into a nice housing situation, there's going to be this list about they're going to check your background.
Yes.
So, I mean, the crippling social remnants of being in prison are things that are very rarely talked about.
That's right.
But they are tremendous hurdles for people who, when they get out of prison, it basically stymies them.
Absolutely.
From regaining their lives back in society.
Yes.
And there are people who really, really want to do this, but the odds are just tremendous. Huge. And if you don't have the wherewithal to jump those hurdles and continue climbing up, I mean, it's bad. What happens after that?
Yes.
Yes. And we have a tremendous battle on how people who have gone to prison and who have served their time and who are owed the second chance. It's not that they should get it. They're owed the second chance because once you're convicted and you do your punitive sentence and whatever parole supervision you have, you are owed a second opportunity to be a citizen.
Absolutely.
And that's just not happening. And it's just unfortunate. It's sad, really.
It is sad. Look, there's 10% of the U.S. population has a felony conviction. 10%. We need to figure this out. Right, we need to figure this out because we can't move forward as a country with that type of impediment for 10% of our population. It's just it's borders on cruel.
Right.
I did my time. I want to be a success, but the impediments to success, the hurdles to success, as you point out, are tremendous. And that's that's why we exist, man. That's one of the things that's next on our agenda, right? As far as taking this ministry forward, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
It is, and I know this is like going on a social level, but it is. But everything is relevant, though.
Absolutely.
Yes. And it's like when we look at the Bible, anytime people who were experiencing trouble, there was always people or someone to come and resolve the issue. And I think that's where ministries come in at.
Yeah. We want to be that safety net for when they do come out and they run into these brick walls, that we're there. And that's why we feel it's so important that we have when they come out, they have some kind of spiritual support, not just the social, handouts that they get, but they need a spiritual foundation, because, as you indicated, Ernest, they will run into these walls where they're not going to be hired, because you must check on the application whether or not you have a background. But when they are going through that, and they know that there are people who are praying for them, who's supporting them, even if they get a no the first time, the second time, they won't they won't turn back. They won't stop trying. And that's why we want to be there for them as that safety net, to say, okay, so you didn't get the job, but we're going to keep trying, and we're going to keep working with you. There's a job there for you somewhere. God will open a door for you. And if they don't have that kind of strong support, of course, they'll give up, and they'll feel that they can't make it. And oftentimes they resort to what they were accustomed to that didn't work for them, even though it landed them in trouble. But so we're hoping to be there for them when they come out as well, to continue to support them on their journey. Yes,
and that's important. So you have the rest of the crew. Would they like to say hi, or would you guys like to? The newest member.
And the best dressed for today.
And the best dressed too. Tell us,
because I was scared to eat it.
Come on, tell us about your journey on this magnificent ride.
All right, I'll try to shorten it.
Anthony, give me that.
My name is Anthony Garcia from the Bronx.
Okay, you got that Bronx accent too.
A little bit.
I'm retired for 3 years from the Department of Sanitation.
Okay.
And before I was getting ready to retire, God put in my heart, He wanted me to volunteer. And He put a passion for, to really want to help men and train our men into living a godly, righteous life.
Okay.
And so He started me in nursing homes in the last couple of years. And, throughout maybe the last 8-9 years, in different kind of dreams that I had, and different other things with prisons that I didn't understand back then. I see the fulfillment of it now, of what He wanted. So I said, all right, Lord, because He told me about 6 months ago, I want you to start going into the prisons. I said, okay, how do I do this? Just go up to the gate and say, officer, here I am. And so one night, Wednesday night prayer night, the pastor of the church was saying that he was going to start sowing into a prison ministry. And when I heard that, I was like, wow, God. So my ears opened up, and I says, you know the people? He says, yeah, they're good friends of mine. He says, here's my number. So 2-3 days passed, and I was like, all right, maybe he forgot. And then I get the phone call. Reverend Michael called me up, and here I am. And, a couple of Fridays was my first time going to Rikers, and a couple of hurdles.
What did you feel when you first went in, Anthony? Did you feel any anxiety or anything?
Nothing.
Excitement.
Excitement.
I want to run in there, because when God puts a passion in your heart and you can't escape it, and it just increases, I couldn't wait. And, I would be in there every day if I can. I want to be in there with the mates themselves. I want to be like if I was an inmate myself. Because, 20 years ago, I should have been in there with my lifestyle, and God spared me. I went for a correction officer job, and they never called me back. And what a sense of humor God has.
Right.
20 years later, he put me there. And just something that was going through my mind as we're talking about the hurdles and different things when you get out, how it's just not there. And I say this to all inmates, men, women, that you sow your life in God and find your purpose and identity in Him, and you watch His power work.
That's right.
That you can never, ever comprehend. He'll move mountains for you.
Yes, He will.
And He'll control the minds of the lawyers, the people that are hiring you, whatever it is. When He sees a person after His heart and that wants Him above everything, that's why, I laughed to myself when you were saying, the hurdles are out there. But if you give your life to the Lord, you just sit back and let God be God. And you see how He overcomes everything.
Hey.
And that was just burning in me, but I says, all right, Lord, use my thoughts to go maybe one of the people to...
And you know what He said? He said, no, go up there and say it yourself.
So He put the Spirit in you to say...
That's right. That's how it moves.
All right, here we go.
Beautiful. Good job.
Yeah.
We're happy to have Anthony with us.
Man.
Very dedicated, sold out to the Lord and the work of the ministry.
Yeah.
God has blessed us with 11 members on our team now. 10. We went from just my husband and I, Norman and I, to 3. Carmen joined us, and then 4, 5, and now we're a team of 11.
Wow.
We're a team of 11 and growing. Weekly, we are receiving phone calls from people who want to they Google prison ministry and reach out and touch prison ministry pops up.
Yeah, you know what? You'd be surprised how many people would like to be a part of this.
Yes, very much so. So we're grateful to have Anthony, and I believe Doreen Martin may be listening in. She is our newest female member on the team. She comes out every Friday morning all the way from New Jersey, 2.5 hours to travel, just to minister with us to the women for 1 hour. And I think that's... At Rikers.
Wow.
Completely dedicated and committed to doing that. And then we have Carol Golston. She's been a member of our team for about 4 years now, I believe. And then we have Grace and John, who joined us about a year ago. So God has really blessed us, and He's expanding the ministry because the need is great at Rikers Island. As I indicated,
and because He knows the love is there.
The love is there, and as I indicated, there are 9 facilities on Rikers Island, and we are ministering in 5 of them.
Wow.
The Reach Out and Touch Prison Ministry. And as Reverend Michael has said, hopefully we'll be in all of them when God says so. So we're grateful to have Carmen Brown here with us. She's the prayer warrior. She's the chaplain.
Carmen looked like she want to get up out of that chair.
Okay.
How you doing, Carmen?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Carmen Bram. And I'll try to make just cut it as short as I can because it's a lot where prison ministry is concerned. And I'm sitting here today with no doubt in my mind. Nobody talks me into it. God chose me to be a part of this. And this was in the 70s. I was on my job. I didn't know anything about prison ministry, such thing as prison ministry. I thought people, prisoners, that's it, they go to hell, whatever. I didn't know anything. I was on my job, and I was a new Christian. And I happened to turn the radio to Double DJ. And I don't know if you heard about Chaplain Ray. Anybody ever heard about
Texas?
Chaplain Ray? Yes. And his wife Leola.
Yeah.
So I put this radio on, and I heard it said the prison choir is going to sing. And I said, prison choir? And that was where God gave me a passion. And I started crying. And I didn't even understand why I was crying. I was just melting. And I took the address down with Chaplain Ray, and I started participating in prison ministry from in the 70s before I met Reverend Lula. And I mean, years and years contribute. I've been a part, I get letters. Chaplain Ray used to send me books, from prisoner turned from crime to Christ.
Right.
And it went on and on until at my church, I wanted to continue to be involved, physically, around in my neighborhood. And I was inquiring, and I wasn't getting anywhere, but it's on my heart. I know it's just there. And one morning, Sunday morning in the lobby, I saw Reverend Lula, and she said,